All right. We are rocking and rolling through the final hour of the show here from the Olathe Police Department. We've now got a couple of guys with the K-9 unit, officers Kyle Clausius and Blake Brooks, joining us this morning on KCMO. Guys, how are you?
Doing good.
Good, thank you.
Well, let's just start off. I mean, I think this is so cool. You get to work with the dogs, which I think is great, and most people do. But they're not German Shepherds. So you guys are working with, we were just talking about this off the air, Belgian Malinois. Did I get that right?
Correct.
All right. What makes these dogs unique? Why are they arguably better than German Shepherds?
Their genetic makeup, their drive, they are tenacious. They have a good size. They're not too large. They're averaging around 70 pounds. Their trainability. I wouldn't say they're necessarily better than German Shepherds. It just seems like when I go out and selection test dogs, I get more dog out of the Belgian Malinois currently than I have seen in some of the German Shepherds. Okay,
so Kyle, you do, by the way, a lot of the training here, all the training for Olathe and some stuff also around the region. This unit, when you're preparing for it, as you're getting people set up for the K-9 unit, what's the big thing that you look at to see whether or not someone's ready to be a K-9 officer?
When we have a selection process to pick one of our K-9 handlers, most of the ones that apply have been our helpers, our decoys. Mm-hmm. So they're with us every training day on a Wednesday. They are learning, they're absorbing all the information needed to become a K-9 handler in the future. Currently, every K-9 handler we have has been a decoy at one point.
Okay. Now, Blake, you obviously go out on these calls. Do you have one dog, by the way, or how's that work?
Yeah, we each just handle one dog.
Okay.
And then we do everything with that dog. I'm actually my dog's second handler. I got lucky. Sergeant Allsbrooks actually had him first and then decided to promote, and I was able to get him.
How close do you get to this animal?
Relationship-wise?
Yeah.
Very close.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this dog becomes – are they all males or are they some females too?
We work only males.
Only males.
Yeah.
I mean, this dog, I mean, we talk about dog as a man's best friend. I got to imagine that is literally as true as it gets when it comes to a K-9 officer.
100%. Absolutely.
So you're going on these calls, and what's your dog's name?
King.
Oh, wow, what a stud. What an alpha. I like that.
Horrible name. Horrible. Well, if we go help an outside agency, I have to put Officer Brooks, K-9 King. I don't like doing that.
You don't like doing that? Why?
Like
it makes you look presumptuous? Or
yeah,
why do you
exactly.
like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think it makes it look like you're in charge. All right, so you and King go out, and a lot of your calls are what? Drug-related, I imagine? What are they?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time on a normal shift, what we're getting called for is a free air sniff of a vehicle for narcotics.
So someone will call for backup, basically, with you, or how does that work?
We're not necessarily backup. They'll call for backup or a second officer to stand with the person for safety, for everyone's safety, because we don't want the person in the car for our safety and also for their safety. And then they call us to actually do the free air sniff of the car.
Okay, so someone gets pulled over and, whatever, they got to do a car check. That's where you get called in.
Correct.
Okay, so technically it wouldn't be backup, but you're not doing routine traffic stops with your K-9.
Well, we do them as well. If nobody in patrol happens to be calling, we're out there being proactive as well.
Wow. The training, Kyle, you do the training for these dogs. What is that like? I mean, how do you, we see training of horses. How long does it take to train one of these K-9s?
Starting out, our dogs are imported typically from Europe, and we use a vendor that imports them. And we go to Pennsylvania. We use Shallow Creek Kennels out of Pennsylvania. And I selection test the dog, and I test the basic drives of the dog. Is he suitable for detection work? Is he suitable to fight a man? Because we have to have a dog with courage.
Yeah.
We bring that dog back, and they have very little training at that time. Once we get them back, we run about a 10-week school. The school consists of imprinting the dog on narcotic odors, teaching the dog how to track, teach the dog how to building search, area search, article search. There's all types of skills that the dog has to learn before they go to the road.
How far out can these guys smell?
It depends on the wind. Like if there's a bad guy hiding in a shed, if we're downwind, it could be 30, 40 feet away. Our dog will tell us that the bad guy's ahead of us up the wind. We use the wind to our advantage all the time.
Really? What about drugs? How is their scent even better on drugs?
Well, Each drug, they're trained on marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine, and heroin. Each drug has its own potency, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, like marijuana is very has a really strong odor to the dogs, so they could smell that typically further away. Mm-hmm. Versus methamphetamine, which doesn't give off a whole lot of odor, so typically the dogs are going to be a little closer to that when they indicate.
One thing you didn't mention there, fentanyl. Does it not have a strong scent, or are they not trained for that yet?
We do not train on fentanyl.
Okay. Is that something you want to work on? Like, just with that being such a major issue now around the country, is that something that is part of the plan, or?
Well, right now, I know there's some area agencies that have trained on it. I'm watching to see what they're doing and how it's working. One of the things is fentanyl is a legal substance. Our dogs,
True. Yeah.
When they indicate to a car for meth, cocaine, heroin, or marijuana, those are illegal substances, which gives us the probable cause to search a vehicle. I'm waiting to see kind of what the courts are going to do before I bring it up to our staff on, are we going to approach the fentanyl detection or not.
I hadn't thought about that. How about you, Blake, and what you've been dealing with on that front?
Well, I was going to say, luckily I say luckily, but most of the time we're not getting just pure fentanyl. They're mixing it with other drugs that our dogs are trained on.
Yes, that makes sense.
So we still find the fentanyl. We're just finding it mixed with the methamphetamine or cocaine.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, because it's getting laced into all this stuff now.
Right.
How bad? I mean, we haven't really talked to anybody about it this morning, but since you're doing this, how bad is that issue getting?
It's pretty bad. I mean, I don't think I've gotten pure methamphetamine for probably over 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's had the fentanyl in it. And actually back in, I think it was 2019, I got what I thought were just regular Xanax pills, and that turned out that was actually fentanyl.
Now, how much of that, listen, Olathe is sitting right here, as much of the region is. You got 35, you got 70, you're right in the middle of the country. You have people passing through on 35 that, none of us really know who we're driving next to and where they're going and what their intentions are. How much is that part of what you're dealing with versus, low-level stuff that just happens in neighborhoods?
We kind of do all of it. We kind of start off at the lower level, and we'll try to work our way up to bigger stuff. If it gets big enough, obviously, that's when the narcotics unit will step in and take that over. But we're trying to get it as local as we can as well, because that's what's affecting our crime, because unfortunately when people are on the narcotics, they're then doing property crimes and stuff that's really affecting other people as well. So,
yeah, I mean, I just think that that's such an important topic because it's impacting, I mean, people of all backgrounds, all socioeconomic levels. I mean, and we know kids here in the area who are getting poisoned by this stuff, and they just don't know what's happening. And you guys are kind of on the front lines trying to get to it, before the kids get impacted by it, right?
Absolutely. One of the things we do when we do have an arrest on the street is we try to gather intelligence and information so we can locate the suppliers of that, and we provide that information to our narcotics unit.
Mm-hmm. So what is most misunderstood about the K-9 unit in general? Everyone sees the dogs, and they love the dogs, and they want to pet the dogs. They really can't pet the dogs, though, right? That's a bad idea.
So I think that's the most misunderstood. You are correct. They cannot pet the dogs, but I think a lot of people assume these are just mean, nasty dogs that want to go out and bite everybody. And Kyle specifically goes out, and when we look at the dogs, we don't want that. We want a dog that's going to fight somebody if he needs to, by himself if he needs to. But we also want a dog that's going to be a buddy to us and to other people. They're trained to bite. That's why we don't let people pet them, because we don't want to have an accident. But, I mean, we have a K-9 Bosco who's handled by Officer Fletcher, and he's a lap dog at home. You'd never know that he would go out and do what he does.
Do you take the dog home?
Yeah, he lives with us.
He lives with you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They live with their officer.
Correct.
So are you 4 10-hour shifts? Is that how you guys do it?
So how it actually works for us is we're 4 9-hour shifts. The PD actually gives us that last hour of, they call it kennel time. Mm-hmm. It's maintenance time to take care of the dog, feed him, groom him, and all that stuff.
All right, so 4 9s, hour to take care of the dog. So what do you and King do on the weekends then? I mean, can you go to the dog park, though, or no? You can't really do that.
No,
so
we don't.
You can't really do any of that stuff.
No, King is super active.
Yeah.
So I don't walk him as much as I should, but I do walk him at home. But I get him out a lot, let him run around the yard and play with him there. But I get him out about every 2 hours or so to just keep his mind right.
Wow. If not, will he kind of start tearing up the cushions and stuff?
He's not much of a chewer, but he does weird circles a lot, and he gets to where he's barking, and I can just tell he's stressed and needs to come out and burn some energy.
So you let him out every couple of hours, and then he's, kind of reset for the next couple of hours.
Yeah, he's good to go.
Wow. Well, you guys are doing great work. Kyle, what's something about this unit people need to know that they don't know?
Well,
when it comes to, like, the training, how long does the training take? How about that?
So the training is typically a 10-week basic school for a canine handler, but the training is the entire life of the dog.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't end.
It never ends. We train every Wednesday. We do a 9-hour training day. The dog is a being with his own brain, his own desires. Mm-hmm. He wants to succeed. So if we don't train, all the skills we taught in the basic school will diminish. The basic school is much like a police academy. We don't take a police officer straight out of the academy and tell them to go be a police officer. Mm. They go through a field training program. They go through reoccurring training, and they have requirements annually for those to continue their skill set. So the dogs are the same way. If we don't train, the skill set diminishes, and then we're not effective on the street, and there would be no point for us to be there if we're not effective.
Well, keep up the great work, guys. Thanks for what you're doing, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.